Welcome at Maths Form 4 Linear Law Lesson 2 Question. The variables x and y related by the equation y equals px plus q, where p and q are constant. The diagram shows the straight line obtained by plotting y over x against 1 over x. Okay, now we look at the question. A. Express P in terms of Q. So part A, question is asking P in terms of Q. As usual, we start from what they ask. They are asking P. I will go to the equation P, which is y equals px, pq plus px. So I'm going to start with the equation. And this equation, y equals pq plus px, the given equation, we must change it to linear equation of capital Y and capital X plus C. The given equation changed to linear equation of the capital Y equals M capital X plus C, because we were given the linear graph. So the next thing they are doing, this capital Y is the y over x. We must complete the diagram. This is the capital Y. And the capital X, go to the x-axis, 1 over x is the capital X. So must complete the diagram. And if you look at the units, 520, 1, 8, the first coordinate 5 is the capital X, and the second coordinate 20 is the capital Y. Same, first coordinate is capital X, second coordinate is capital Y. Since we have two coordinates, so we are going to label capital X1, capital Y1, capital X2, capital Y2. Okay. Now we go back to the given equation. We have to change this Y, Px, Pq plus Px into capital Y and capital X plus C. Now how am I going to do this? Look at the capital Y, which is here. The capital Y is y over x. We already got y, and we have already got the y. I have to change it to y over x, which means in this equation, I divide everything by y. I take the equation y equals to pq plus px. Each one I'm going to divide by x. Going to divide by x. Why? Because the capital Y, it has y over x. Next, I'm going to simplify this. This is of course still y over x. And here I'm going to separate the x, which means I'm going to get PQ brackets 1 over x, which is the 1 over x what's the capital X? And the other one, here, the X and X can cancel, balance is P. So now, this is the equation we have, which is capital Y and capital X plus C. By comparing the top equation with the down equation, we realize two things. Remember, the question is asking, find P in terms of Q. So if you compare here, the PQ is actually the gradient. That's the first thing we get. So we get, by comparing the first and second equation, the PQ is gradient M. Y over X is capital Y. 1 over X is capital X. And the P is the C, y-intercept. So now, we have our gradient equals to PQ. A question asking, P in terms of Q. So I have the information regarding P and Q. So now gradient, I must use the formula gradient. Formula gradient in coordinate geometry, y minus y. If you remember, gradient is y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. But here, in linear law, I'm going to use capital Y1 minus capital Y2, capital X1 minus capital X2. And all these Y1, Y2, X1, X2, capital, we already have labeled in the earlier part of the question. So all we have to do, Y1 minus Y2, that is 20 minus 8. So that would be 20 minus 8. The gradient is 20 minus 8 over, we have x1 minus x2, which is x1 5 minus x2 1. So that would be 5 minus 1. So we have our gradient, 20 minus 8, of course that is 12, and 5 minus 1 is 4. So our gradient is 3. The purpose of finding this gradient, the purpose of it here, the gradient M is PQ. So this M is PQ, which is 3. We want to find P in terms of Q. So we make the P subject 3 over, of course the Q, you transfer to the right hand side, it becomes over Q. Which means we have got our first answer, P in terms of Q, which is P equals 3 over Q. So we have finished the first part. Now we go on to the second part. It says here, find the y-intercept. The second part, find the y-intercept. Let me do this here. Part B, question mark, the y-intercept. As usual, we start from what they ask. Y-intercept, that y-intercept is of course the C. The C in the equation, capital Y equals to M capital X plus C. So if I want to find the value of C, I must substitute the value of capital Y, capital X, and N. To find the value of C, the y-intercept, CY-intercept, I need the value capital Y and capital X, which we have. I'm going to label as capital Y1, capital X1. I'm choosing Y1, X1. You can choose Y2, X2. Now we substitute. I go back to the graph. If you look here, X1, Y1, the Y1 is 20, the X1 is 5. So coming back here, the Y1 is 20. Gradient, we already have the gradient M is 3. And the X1 was 5 from the graph, plus C. So this is 20. 3 times 5 is 15 plus C. Bring the 15 to the left hand side. I will have 20 minus 15 equals to C. So our C will be 5. Of course, 20 minus 5 is 5. So we have got our answer. This is our answer. Okay, that's it. I hope you understand. Those of you who are watching in TikTok, this video will be done in 2 parts. Please watch the part A and then part B. Okay, thank you very much.